Hey Harsheen, how's it going?
Hi Sam, how are you?
Good. Alive. My sleeping cycle has been so weird that I sleep around 11 in the morning, wake up around 6 p.m., and then get ready for all the work stuff. I don't know. It's as weird as it can be. I'm surviving. How about you?
It's really boring now because it's been like 3 months that we
Right.
are at home. So yes, kind of getting anxious now, but
Right.
yeah, but still
But
feeling
so funny. It's so like it's a good feeling to know that I remember back in 2015, I was a kid. Like I certainly have evolved as a photographer from 2015 to right now. And we met in the train to Ahmedabad. I still remember having a conversation, like a small conversation. I was still nervous. My dad initiated.
that was 2013, Sam.
It's been 7 years.
Yeah.
And I had no idea how I got selected. I had no, like, I never checked the result online. It was my dad who received the email at home. And I was like, I have no idea what's going on. Like, me being a photographer going to study for masters, no idea.
So did you kind of pursue it? Because I
Yeah,
dropped.
yeah, I applied for masters in professional photography, and I got the scholarship. So I moved to Europe then.
Okay, okay.
That is beautiful. But what changed your mind? I mean, from NID and IM, you had an option to go to IM then, right?
I think I followed the crowd. I I regret it now. I wish, I could have gone to NID. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I heard stories from NIDs, but I'm glad that I like. So that's the story I heard. But it's fine. I mean, we're gonna get things started. So guys, this is Harsheen Jammu, and we're gonna talk a lot about her. I've known Harsheen for 7 years now. She corrected me that I thought all this 5 years. And she has evolved like a really cool artist, like where I can see the stage where I feel inspiration when I see her. And it inspires a lot of photographers around me as well when I go cover weddings and talk about you, talk about your art. It really inspires me to get better each day. So thank you, Harsheen.
I'm
And
really
we're going
thankful
to
to you.
discuss everything that how Harsheen Jammu turned into Omre, where I have personal questions as well and see the art and see the influence. But Harsheen, yeah, this is the Outgoing Introvert board. This is a small initiative which we took to inspire everyone to get everyone on one platform and help all the photographers, all the other artists if they can get inspired. And so you take the platform, please, and if you can yourself and your team, please.
Yeah. Yeah. Sam, there's some connection problem. I lost you at the end.
Let me try again.
Now it's
That's
fine.
better.
Yeah.
Awesome. So I said I would like you to take the stage and introduce yourself and the team.
I lost you again.
I don't know if this is full signal.
Just give me.
Should I add you again? Let me see if I can have Harsheen again. Guys, if you have any problem, if you cannot hear me, please let me know in the comment section, please. And I'll try again to add Harsheen. All right. Let me see if Harsheen is online. She is. Okay. Let's try 2.0.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry. I don't know. The signal is okay from my end also. I don't know why it's happening.
No
Let's
problem.
hope it doesn't happen again.
No worries. So I said, yeah, I would like you to take the stage and introduce yourself and beautiful team and backing team, all the hardworking team which makes your brand successful.
Okay. So, right now, we're like a team of about 15 people. And it goes all the way from photographers, cinematographers, designers, and there's like a logistics team also, then finance team, just like that. So divided across.
That's great. That's so
Yeah.
happy to hear that. That's making successful brand. It's just so, like how important it is to have a backend team who keeps on supporting your goal, your ambition, and your to make it a successful one.
I think it's extremely important. I think it's even more important than doing good photography, because you know, sometimes, you know, even if you do really well, if these things are not well in place, you won't get where you want to get to. So it's more like, you know, just two sides of the same coin. One is the creative part of it, and one is the business side of it. So
Sure.
I think if you really wanna grow, and if you really wish to like be wherever you want to be, it's very important to have a backend team. Otherwise you'll be all consumed in, you know, everything that's not creative. So yeah.
Interesting. So there's a really cool second question. Is like before we start taking all the questions we receive from people, and plus the back team worked really hard for the interview. How are you keeping up with this lockdown? And once this is over, what are the changes you see in the business or general in the industry?
Okay. How am I keeping with this lockdown? So initial 2 months, I was just eating and doing nothing. Because, you know, at that point of time, we thought it would be a bit temporary, but right now it looks like, you know, there's no clarity as such, you know, how things are gonna fold. So, you know, now we are more trying to, you know, anticipate and see what can be done, and you know, just take some action, whatever is possible uh, at my front, you know, how to improve the existing products, whatever we can do from our desks right now. So that's one thing. Now how I see, you know, things taking up the shape, honestly, I think the revenues are gonna take a big hit.
Yeah.
The of course, you know, the scale of wedding is gonna go small, but again, the kind of clientele I'm dealing with, you know, I'm sure they'll make even a 20 people or 50 people a very creative experience. It's gonna be more experiential rather than, you know, when it comes to weddings. I think that's the only thing that I can anticipate right now.
Correct. Correct.
Yeah.
That's insane. I mean, I just received a inquiry for a wedding in Gujarat, and I declined it last night. I feel so bad because I certainly enjoy taking weddings, other than other form of journalism, photography thing. But I felt so bad. Something very close to my heart that I thoroughly enjoy taking pictures. But when you decline such offer, and because of the whole situation, that it's not fair that if we get sick, then the wedding is like all right. So yeah, I mean, we've been talking to a lot of people over the Outgoing Introvert, and we have very cool suggestions. So yeah, once we end the conversation, we can personally talk and we can discuss how and where we can see the market changing and stuff. Just normal talk, like where we can see how things are going.
I think there are two sad parts of this. One, of course, the corona thing. Secondly, I think you know, as a wedding photography industry, it was really saturated. So this thing happened. You know, there's a life cycle of every industry.
Right.
So this kind of happened, you know, when we were kind of in the saturation position. So I think smaller players are gonna have a lot of problem because you know, clients are not willing to pay right now. That's a truth that, you know, you really can't deny.
Yeah.
So, you know, and people are getting desperate. There's a lot of competition. So, you know, I think one advice would be to just work on your skills, so that, you know, once everything normalizes, or even, you know, even during this time, you have something different to offer.
Interesting. Interesting. That's a really cool point. Like how we can nurture ourselves with our ideas, with our ambitions, with our creative work on the pictures, like you mentioned in a lot of interviews and stuff, that how important it is to color grade and stuff. So we definitely come back to those questions. But are you still working from home? And if yes, then what exactly are you working with?
So, like I told you, there's no post-production left, but it's primarily, whatever products and backend that we can, smoothen and make the processes more sorted. So that's the kind of work we are doing right now. And we are emptying the hard drives, some data management happening, which has been just on the back burner from so long. So
Yeah, and I can. You just have everything, and sometimes you just don't feel like doing it, and maybe do it and stuff.
Yeah.
But no, it's like the motivation factor. You need to get people like you on the platform to inspire us, inspire everyone around. So we have a lot of questions, and we'll start taking it slowly and slowly. So the first is like really starting with a journal, like who and what got you into photography?
Who and what got me into wedding photography? Nobody got me. So I came by my own.
That's it.
Of course, if we go back to 2012, because that's when I did my first wedding, Joseph Radhik was the inspiration, that I used to look up to. I could really connect to his work. So you may say that, yeah, he got me into it. When it comes to what, it was just, I really enjoyed shooting people. So at that point of time, I was not really clear on that, okay, weddings is the only thing that I want to do, but I was sure that, I really enjoy shooting people. That's the only clarity I had. No landscapes, no journalistic stuff. So, like mine wasn't like, okay, this is the thing, but it went more like elimination process, that this is not for me, this is not for me.
Because I remember I saw your portfolio when we went to NID. It was more artistic, more like there was editing and all, like the different vision and different perception. The idea goes into your head and you try to come up with certain things. I really don't remember the pictures, but I remember the stuff.
Yeah.
So, I mean, back then you were not still sure whether it's wedding or it's portrait. Or...
Yeah.
Interesting. So this is very important. Obviously, we are calling you as Ombre for the part for the edition 4. So how important Agam plays to turn Harsheen Jammu photography to Ombre?
When Ombre was formed, he wasn't there. And like I mentioned, for first 2 years, I was just doing all the non-creative stuff to keep things running. So, you kind of feel frustrated at a point. That I got into this because I wanted to do photography, and then you're seeing yourself doing everything else apart from photography. So I think, he kind of really, when he came in, it kind of, really helped, because it brought a balance, and I could finally, do the things which I really wanted to do, and not just, manage the business part of it, which is really time consuming.
That's great. So, yeah, I mean, like he mentioned that how you handle the business side and you handle the creative side, and that's where you can focus your mind, your heart, and your soul towards something you love doing.
Yeah.
That's really cool. High five, Agam, around watching this video. Okay, so what made you take up such an offbeat, unconventional,
unconventional, difficult? What did you say in the end?
Yeah, I said interesting.
Your voice is cracking, but I'm assuming.
Let me try again. I don't know what's going on today. It has been okay for all the live sessions. Is it better now? Yeah, I think it's on your side.
I think the problem is from my end.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you now.
Okay. Yeah. Honestly, for me, like I said, it wasn't like, this is the thing I want to do. That, but when I got into IM, I went for this summer internship, which happens in the first 3 months of getting admission. And this is like a 2-month program, the internship. And I was so sure about after that summer internship that I don't want to do a corporate job. So I was just left with photography. So my like it was more like an elimination process throughout. Like, I was just sure that this is what not I can't do.
That happened with me as well. I went for an interview for a corporate company when I was doing my bachelor's, and I went there and I was like, second round, Mama, select ho gaya main. And Mama was like, okay, then you have to wait. I said, no, I'm already on my way back home. And then she's like, why? Like, you got into like second round and then you were coming back. And I said, Mama, nahi hoga. It's like, कुछ भी कर लूँगा बट अभी ये करने का मन नहीं है. That is.
I don't know, like I couldn't relate to it. I just couldn't, like I couldn't picture myself, you know, though it sounds like a mistake now, you know, I spent so much on the whole degree. But yeah, like I think I couldn't just picture myself in there. So when we had placements, I didn't even tell my parents that I'm not sitting for placements, because else they would have definitely, kind of poked me into the whole thing, ki beta bad job, job is very important and all those kind of things. So I told them when it all got over that, I haven't taken up a job.
So that's cool. I can correlate, and it just makes me feel half as well, because it's been 7 years now. Like you mentioned, like I still can't believe it. Okay, Harshen, before we take on the next question, can you try? Now I think it's fine. Your video. I think earlier there was some break in the video, but now I think it's perfectly fine. Okay, so Harshen, what's the most memorable wedding you have shot, and why?
The most memorable wedding that we have shot was in 2016. The wedding happened in the Lahore area. Why it was interesting was because, of course, the cultures were very different from what we were used to shoot. The weddings were completely in the, like, with local tribal rituals. And the location, of course, it's no fancy banquet or some fancy destination, but you're getting married right at their house along, you could just see hills around. So that was crazy. I think I'm yet to come up, it's been 4 years. I'm still trying to have that one wedding, which could just erase the memories of that one. But yes.
That's great. It's beautiful that something you love, something you're so close to that you can remember, and still you can so passionately, even after 4 years, you can talk and discuss about that wedding.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay. So, Harshen, define your style in 5 words, or 4, or 3, whatever comes to your mind.
I think it's more of a fusion. Defining in 3 words, okay. Art, moments, love. If you're just telling me 3 things.
Sometimes you're not prepared for such questions and suddenly it popped up. It's like, kya yaar, kaise batao, matlab, ab kya hai?
Yeah, I think it gives you, like, it gives me a clarity.
No, it will give you a heads up before next time we go online about such questions. Okay, so I see. So this is like a personal question that we see a lot of people taking good pictures and not taking part in any of the competitions. What do you have to say about that? I mean, we see a lot of people taking really good pictures and not submitting their work, or not believing in their work, or just making sure, okay, they're going to wait for another few years, months and stuff before they participate.
I think it has nothing to do with the, people submitting for awards or anything to do with their skill. I think it's completely an individual's choice. If he or she is seeking validation or not. I think, I like personally, I think awards do kind of influence your style of work, because especially, then you lose your own style and you start shooting just with the thing that, these are the kind of images that are gonna win.
Sure.
So I don't think so. It's completely a personal choice. Like I can't say, okay, why or what. If somebody's seeking validation, if for someone it's inspiring, I think that's good. If somebody's not inspired by, submitting for awards or by winning awards, it's totally okay then also.
Cool. So we're receiving a lot of questions, Harsheen. So there's one question we received is photography degree very important to pursue a professional like photography?
No, not at all. Not even 5% requirement.
That's great. Okay. Question. How to start business of photography? Someone asked in here in the comments.
There's nothing like how to start. Like just start. Like I think it's at the end you just have to kind of get up and get to the work. There's no there's no short thing that, okay, this is, if I start like that, I'm gonna be a short success. I think it's a journey. You keep adding stuff, subtracting stuff. It just, you learn things on the way.
Correct. No, I second that. I mean, I went into photography accidentally because I lost my camera. I lost my camera bag, money, passport in LA while covering the LA Fashion Week. And I was like, I have to come back to India and I have to earn money. I mean, that's how I started my journey as a photographer back in 2014. And since then, I'm loving it. So, I mean, but along the way, I learned so much. I understood the culture, understood what they want, how they want, and what I have to make sure that I deliver at the end of the session.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, it's great. I mean, it's a long journey that how it helps, like you mentioned, that it's the process to get started. Cool. So another one on the comment section right now is how to maintain Instagram handle. Yours is beautiful.
Thank you. Be consistent. That's one tip I would say, with the kind of consistent with the quality, consistent with the time. I think these are the two major things that you can kind of, as a tip. I can't think of anything else. Yeah.
No worries. Let's
Like don't feel the rush to post on Instagram. That's that okay, that you just post everything. Try to post your best stuff.
Okay, so this is okay. If actual talent in photography and interest in it are independent of each other, then is it advisable for someone who lacks either of those to pursue photography full time?
Talent and what?
Talent
interest.
in photography, talent in
and
photography
interest.
and interest in are independent to each other. Good question.
Yeah. Okay. So very interesting question, and I have a very interesting answer also. So I read this book called "Talent is Overrated." So it says that if you genuinely have interest in something and you are not talented enough, if you think that you're not talented enough, it's okay, because if you keep working towards it, the talented person is gonna be nowhere. Of course, it's gonna take time for you, but
Sure.
if interest is really important, if you have talent and you don't have interest, there's no point of doing it. But even if you don't have talent but have an interest, so definitely go for it.
That's cool answer. Yeah, Sudarshan, we hope that you're correctly, but if you have more, please write down in the comment section. Okay, Harsheen, I think we have one of the pictures. Just a second. I think gonna discuss about one of your pictures. All right, that's my favorite picture.
Okay.
I mean, we would love to discuss about how and what came into your mind and I'm sorry, but we could not have the whole image.
Okay. No
But guys,
problem.
you can see the picture on Harsheen's Instagram page before if you really want to see the full version of this image. But yeah, go ahead, Harsheen.
Okay, so there were three aspects of it. First was that the groom was a friend and he was a photographer. And of course, you have an added pressure when a photographer is getting married. And then secondly, he really liked dark stuff. Okay, like all his work is really dark, being a wedding photographer. Okay. And then, the third thing was we really, though he had planned it all, we couldn't get time to do couple portraits.
Okay.
Just like every Indian wedding. So in the end, I was left with a beautiful portrait of the bride. And the guy's portrait, I think we just have had really few, like one or two.
Okay.
And then because he was a photographer, so I couldn't just say that okay, we didn't get time, so I just sat on Photoshop and thought, what could we do, and this is what I made.
That's great. That's great. So you, excuse me, you tried to add three elements separately in that.
No, the bride and the smoke were taken together. It was the portrait that we did once she got ready. And the guy's portrait again, we did like only before his barat was about to start, just one or two I could take. And if you notice it carefully, even because there was so much rush, the guy's portrait is blurred also. Okay, it's not in focus completely.
Right.
So I was left with all of these things, and I never knew, that even I couldn't imagine that I'll be able to create something like that.
That's great, guys. So whosoever is online, guys, everybody who's watching this video, guys, we all go through a moment where we don't get anything, but at the end is what I feel personally. That correct me if I'm wrong, Harsheens, that we try to evolve as an artist and we understand how important it is to deliver, but at the same time, it's important to work as an artist and really work on pictures to deliver, because that's where they hire you.
That's true.
Awesome. So it's interesting. I mean, I can't imagine how you could not take the groom's picture and then suddenly you came up with this really cool idea. I love it. It's so cool.
Thank you.
Okay, so Harsheen, we have another one for you. Oh shit, I don't know. I cannot see that picture. Okay, let me get. Okay. Cool.
I can't hear you.
Oh, now can you hear me?
Yeah.
Awesome. So yeah, please tell what was on your mind when you took this picture? Are these two different subjects or just one subject, or like what was on your mind when you took this picture?
So I'm really a collector of home decor stuff. So I picked these flamingos from Bali for my home. They're still lying here. Okay. And when we went to Andamans, this was the second time we were going. So we had a fair idea, how the place looks like. And at a point it gets like there's just beach. How much you will shoot on a beach? You go anywhere, it turns out to be a similar place, very beautiful beach. So we just carried some elements along to incorporate into the whole set.
Yeah.
And these two flamingos were a showpiece,
Yeah.
kind of a thing, which
Yeah.
we carried along and used them when we got bored of the beach.
That's so cool. It's so it's magic to your ears when you hear such stories. But as a viewer, when you see these pictures, like, oh man, this is mind blowing. It's so creative. It's so simple, but it's so artistic, so easy, but we just enjoy watching stuff. But great pictures.
Thank you.
Machine. It's really cool to discuss these things, and thank you for having all the honest answers. That's cool. So okay, we're gonna take more questions before. And I have this question for you, Harsheen, that when we cover weddings in different countries or different culture or different part of world where we don't know about the culture or the religion or the people, do you set a meeting or do you know about the couple beforehand, or do you study about the culture via books or online or in stuff so that you are well prepared for the main day?
Okay. Honestly, the human condition is same throughout, whether it's any culture or any place in the world. Even the rituals, they're pretty much similar. There's just some plus and minus, and they're very close to each other. That's what I feel, because I've shot all kinds of weddings now. And I could never feel the need that I need to know a certain culture completely. I
Yeah.
think if you know your way around emotions, how humans work, and if you're observant, you it's fine. I don't think so you need anything else.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. That's cool. Okay. So what do you particularly like about the photographing weddings?
um I think it's a good mix. It's not boring because you're not doing similar kind of work.
Yeah.
Every person is different, every couple is different, every story is different, and every time the taste is also very different.
Cool.
So, that's very challenging. It's not that you're just kind of doing the same kind of stuff over and over again. So I think
Correct.
that's what interests me the most.
Cool. That's cool. Okay. Speaking of weddings and editing pictures and stuff, so we've seen that a lot of people asking you about softwares you're going to use. Like we received a lot of questions, like 3 questions that what are your editing tools and which software do you usually use to edit the pictures? And when I was studying about your work, we understood that you mentioned that how important it is to practice and work on your pictures to color correct and or toning. What do you like to say about that?
Okay, so 95% of the times I use Lightroom only.
Okay.
It's just 5% of the times that I'm looking for a very different result, which I cannot achieve in Lightroom, that
Yeah.
I use Photoshop.
Yeah.
And yes, practice is definitely required. I used to do shitty color grading for, I think, really, really long time, but I used to at least keep doing it. The problem that I see with today's photographers, who are not that I'm really old, but people who are just starting, is that they go blindly by presets. It's probably the Instagram influencer culture
Correct.
that has come into the place that the style should be consistent, the edit should be consistent. So I think just blindly applying presets, that's not what style is.
Correct.
So yes, and colors are not easy to understand.
Yeah.
It takes a lot of practice, and I think I can say that because for good 2.5 years, I think I edited almost like a lakh or more images by myself. So yes, I had become a robot by then. Like I couldn't even, I didn't even had the need to see the keyboard and
Good.
just see, okay, done, next, done, next. So
Yeah.
it's a lot of practice.
Correct. 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 I can remember that when we were giving the interview at NID, we were happy to take pictures through a roll film camera.
Yes.
So it's the same where I can correlate that back then in 2013, if we wouldn't have known how to run like a roll film camera, we would have lost. Like that was the niche. And to understand, even though I use Canon 1DX right now, it's totally fine, but I also know how to use the roll film camera. So to edit your pictures, it's like that how important it is to get close to something you click, because you, like someone mentioned before, it's like the interesting part and the loving part, and how important it is to get connected and show the emotions and express your ideas through pictures. So
I think, of course, obsession is required. Else, because weddings are really tiring. They're not a normal shoot that you get to location, everything is set, you're the fancy photographer and you click and leave, and the production takes care of everything. You're
yeah,
everything by yourself.
yeah,
So I think, and it's very exhausting. Add some travel and back to back. Like 6 months are crazy. So I
yeah.
think, obsession is the only thing that kind of keeps you, you know, at where you are, or, yeah, nothing else.
That's great. So speaking of traveling and speaking of session that we go through wedding, there are a lot of times we end up not eating anything. And I would like to ask you personally that has it ever happened that you never ate anything and still performed to your best level?
Yeah, like, but like till I was 25, we were really 25, 26, really not bothered at all about health. But as I'm getting into late 20s, I really can't imagine shooting without having food. I will go bonkers. So, food is important, and now we make sure that before the event starts, we have food. Not just me, the whole team.
That's good. So I was working in the States and I was working with another few photographers there. So I have a cheat code, like we usually have energy bars in our pocket.
Yeah.
So we try to have everyone in the team that, okay, bhai, you never know, it's a really big wedding, everything is running late. All you need to do is just keep these energy bars in your pocket, and I won't see you anywhere eating stuff because this is very important. So this is the energy bar for you to make sure you survive, but we're gonna go through it. We're gonna get through the whole thing. That's so fun. Okay, so how will you elaborate on your memorable experience being a photographer?
Oh, like, I think I'm yet to say it's memorable because it's still going on, and every day is interesting. Every wedding is interesting. Some are interesting in a good way, some are interesting in a bad way. Not that everything is really fancy.
Yeah.
I won't say that. But yeah, like, there's a story to everything, and it's been a wonderful journey. What else do I say?
That's great. Sweet answer. Good answer. So we received one question from the comment section. I'm going to take that. So someone said she's a wedding photographer of the year 2019 Wedding Sutra. Yes. How has this award or other awards helped your business?
Honestly, like I mentioned again about the awards, that honestly, they don't affect your work. Winning an award actually you know doesn't what do I say, doesn't confirm the fact that you're gonna get a lot of business.
Sure.
They're actually very independent of each other. I see a lot of people not winning awards and still doing brilliant business, and I see people having a lot of awards but still not going anywhere with the business thing. So I think they're really independent of each other. And again, we thought probably we require a validation at that point of time, and that's what we just wanted to see where is our work like.
Yeah.
And honestly, like, it's nothing to do with the business is everything related to how your it's all about your clients. If they are happy, of course you'll get a lot of business, but if they are not happy, you won't get anything, even if you win a lot of awards.
Cool. Good. Good. That's cool. Um, so speaking of all the clients and the couples, Harsheen, what advice would you give to a couple looking for a wedding photographer?
uh, don't go blindly by the photographer that your best friend chose. You know, do your research.
मैं
Like,
कर लूंगा भाई, मैं कर लूंगा, मैं ढूंढ लूंगा, तेरा भाई हूं ना मैं.
yeah, do.
So free that.
Yeah. Do your research, because a lot of times we face this, that yes, that somebody told them that they're great photographers, have them on board, but the kind of pictures or the style that they want is very different, and it's disappointing for me, it's disappointing for them, because they're not happy with the end result. And it's not that, though we try to align it as much as we can to their taste, but of course it's very important to do your own research.
That's great, guys. So, guys, whosoever has joined us or joining us right now, uh, Harsheen is already going through a course, like a personal mentorship, correct, Harsheen?
Yeah.
So, guys, go and check out. It's a wonderful opportunity. Me being a photographer as well, at the same age, I've been inspired by Harsheen for a lot of her work. And I would really appreciate and really be more confident by saying that if you guys are there, please go ahead and check her work and see if you have an opportunity to showcase your work and learn from Harsheen with her experience, with her values, and like everything. So whosoever joined out, please go ahead and see that.
Thank you, Sam.
Most welcome.
Thank you for getting me work in the lockdown.
Yeah, the whole idea of the initiative was to serve back. I mean, traveling so much, doing so much. I mean, I've never stick with one form of photography because I don't know, me being that I like to explore other parts, and I always dreamt of doing different forms and meeting different actors and sports personality and stuff. So I thought I would have photography as the medium where I can cover and I can make sure that I meet them as well and I learn from them. So,
yes.
so just
I think that's totally okay. I think as long as you yourself enjoy doing anything, it's perfect.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah.
So far it's fine. Let's see what happens after the lockdown. But no, it's okay. So, what tips would you share with couples to help their day go smoothly?
Don't get late. Don't get stressed.
Punjabi and getting
No,
on time.
it has nothing I think everyone, like I said, it's universal.
Yeah.
I can't even say it's one certain, community that is pro at it.
Sure.
I've shot, like I had done this wedding in January. So the groom was Irish, the bride was Indian, and she said, Harsheen, you know what? Indian Standard Time and Irish Standard Time, both are quite similar.
Yeah.
If we are telling 4, that means everything is gonna start by 5. So
Correct. In Spain, it's 6. Like if you tell 4 p.m., then you're gonna come and meet at 6 p.m. So it's even worse in Spain.
Okay.
Yeah, they'll be like, oh, traffic में late हो गया था यार, बस मैं आ ही रहा था, बस मम्मी ने रोक लिया मुझे यार, मतलब बस मैं यहीं पे था. But me being a Punjabi myself, like it's just like a proud feeling. But I always try to
Just give me 1 sec. My dog
Sure.
is trying to eat insect that he's not.
Please go ahead. No problem.
Sorry.
No problem. Okay, so Harsheen, what was your first camera that you used? Do you still use the same?
No. My first camera was a Nikon D5100.
Okay.
I don't think so. Like, I think अभी तो production भी बंद हो गया होगा उसका. Now I use Fujifilm X-T3.
That's so cool. Someone asked before that how important or how easy or difficult it is to use Fuji in a wedding.
I think it's amazing. I've used both. Like, I used Nikon for a really long time. And the reason for me was just, I was facing a lot of health issues because of the weight.
Okay.
So, and I, somebody showed me, I really liked it. It's very cute and very beautiful camera. And then I felt really comfortable with the interface and everything. So yeah, I thought, okay, this is it. The switch has been quite easy.
Yeah.
Like I said, the interface, I was really skeptical because I had been using Nikon from the time I started. I think, like for 6 years, 7 years, I was using Nikon only. So I really felt that, what if I start taking bad pictures with this camera? So, that what if, like, मेरा shutter ही ना दबे सही time पे. What if I forget that where the button is, like I used to think, or I used to have all those kinds of doubts. But yeah, like I think the only reason I switched was weight and the interface. I shot with it for 5 minutes and I felt really comfortable. Yeah.
That's great. That's great. So, so which photographer influenced you? I think you mentioned Joseph Radek when you were starting, right?
Yeah.
And how did they influence your thinking, photography style, and career path?
Now Joe and me are good friends. So obviously, when somebody is your inspiration, you kind of look up to them for everything that they do.
Yeah.
So, of course, our styles are very different. The kind of photography he does or the photography that I do. But, whatever little I know about shooting moments or emotions, it's primarily because of him.
That's great. That's great. That's great.
Yeah.
Right, it does certainly influence. I mean, way, if there's a mentor, or you can tell, or you can be close to someone, you can see the pictures, then you can feel it, then you're like, you have to. Interesting. So we have another one. Okay, what have you learned about yourself while covering different weddings?
I haven't learned a lot about myself, but I have learned a lot about people. Or maybe, like, yeah, really, like, a normal person would probably attend 30, 40 weddings in their lifetime.
Yeah.
But I think I've attended 400 plus. So I haven't learned much about myself. But I've learned how people, like I said, human condition is really universal.
Sure.
So I've learned a lot about people. Nothing that I've learned about myself. Yeah, I like food. I like good food. That's what.
We've noted everything, but it's cool. It's cool. So a lot of people are writing, I think. It says, define your style of photography in a word and also explain what inspired you to adopt this style. I think you have mostly answered that question, but still, if you want to take that again.
I think you don't adopt a style. That's the only thing I would like to say. Don't even try to. Don't even force yourself to adopt a style, because again, you'll get frustrated.
Yeah.
So style is something which comes naturally. So I haven't adopted anything. I think over the time period of 7-8 years, you start enjoying doing certain things more. You put more passion into them than everything else. And I think that kind of defines your style. I'm not sure. Like, I have never thought much about, this is my style and I shall just stick to it. I shoot whatever I like, I enjoy it. Like,
that's great.
Yeah,
speaking of style, Harsheen, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but certainly, do you think that it usually helps the things you read, the things you usually see every day, and things you get influenced by, like you mentioned Joseph before, like the books you're reading right now, or the people you're following right now, or understanding more deeply about the art, would that influence a bit when you take pictures next time?
Obviously, 100%. I think photography is an extension of you. Sure. And obviously, if you are engaging yourself in different things, be it even listening music or reading books, that thing is gonna come into it in some form.
That's great. So what are those books, or what are those inspirations for you, if you can tell everyone, the viewers who are watching right now?
I read a lot of books.
To name a few.
I really enjoyed this book recently. It's called Miracle Morning.
Okay.
It basically, I've been a late night person, throughout night person. Like I really used to have a trouble in getting up early in the morning, and the book basically talks about how mornings are important, and the guy really helps. Everybody tells you be an early riser and all those kinds of things,
Yeah.
but the guy really gives you certain techniques, and he shares his own experiences, how the mornings kind of changed his life.
Sure.
And yeah, that's one book that I think I'm trying to follow in this whole lockdown.
Interesting. That's great.
Yeah.
That's interesting to hear. I mean, I've been reading about stock market. I've been understanding business side. There's a book named Startup Lean by Eric Ries.
Yes.
So it just usually helps to define how to manage things and do things and take risk and categorize all the ideas and stuff. But it's great. The book you mentioned, I think we have to tell everyone. What's the name of the book?
Miracle Morning.
Miracle Morning. Okay. Awesome. So guys, if you have joined in, please go ahead and look for this book. It's beautiful. And before we take on next question, yeah, it's beautiful as of now. It's so like natural conversation going on, and just like one-on-one is being honest answer. But thank you, Harsheen, for everything. And we have a few more questions, and we have 10 minutes before we go offline, because like Instagram thing that usually just end the conversation. So okay, what changes have you seen in your industry over the past several years?
Of course, like I said, like the industry when I started was more in the growth stage. One notice that one thing that I've seen is the influence of social media.
Yeah.
Be it on other photographers or clients, like till 2014, 2015, clients used to be really happy with what we used to deliver them.
Okay.
But now, because they're bombarded with visual media, so they're not open to different kinds of work. They want a very certain, whatever they see on Instagram, that's what they want.
Yeah.
So as a photographer, your voice or what you really want to do, that has kind of gone down, because they're really sure of what they want, and if you don't cater to that, then you're in a problem. So that's one thing I've seen. Like my clients, they would never complain till 2014, 2015. I used to do completely what I used, like, because of course, even we were not into Instagram at that point of time. So it was more pure in nature, I would say.
But do you see that? I mean, now we have filters coming in. We have a lot of things. Would that influence clients by saying कि sir आपकी editing थोड़ी और सही हो सकती है, नहीं हो सकती? Because what I see is everything's getting fast paced. Like people, like you mentioned that how we are seeing a change of the whole system, that we're not able to sit down in an image. Like the image which we talked about, it's so beautiful that it took some time. I'm sure it must have taken an hour or so to work on that one picture.
Yeah.
But imagine if you want to deliver instantly. We have application and stuff. अच्छा यार इसको डबल एक्सपोजर डाल देते हैं, इसकी टोनिंग बढ़ा देते हैं, इसका थोड़ा सा चीजें कर लेते हैं, and plus इस पे फिल्टर लगा देते हैं. So what do you have to think? Like, what do you have to say about that? Is that like a right thing, or is it something which you lose your interest with the kind of photography you do, or is it okay to accept that?
Again, there should be a process behind it. That's my, school of thought, that just randomly applying and making double exposures just for sake of making them, that's not that's not how it should be. And I don't even blame the photographers. Sometimes, the clients really force you that, they want a double exposure, because probably they have seen it somewhere. And like I said, they end up hiring the wrong photographers these days. So now, of course the photographer also, has no way out of it. He or she doesn't know the nuisances of creating a double exposure, but still, just to keep his or her client happy, he would
Yeah.
make it. So I won't judge them, but if your client is not asking you and you really don't enjoy that kind of thing, just don't do it for the sake of doing it.
True. Interesting. Good conversation. Um, so, speaking of photographers, what would you say is usually the most common weakness for a photographer who's just starting out in this business?
I think if we talk about business, it's like when you hear business, it sounds like a very bad name, or like business, and you have to be like cunning, and you have to be like really smart and clever. But I think that's not how it should be.
Sure.
You're sooner or later you might feel initially that you're really smart by cheating your clients.
Yeah.
But sooner or later it's gonna come and bite you somehow.
Yeah.
So your value system should be right in place.
Yeah.
You're delivering what you're committing. You're not over committing and disappointing them.
Yeah.
When it comes to work, when they're starting, I would say that just don't blindly copy, and and have this thing in mind that if suppose I am doing this, then this is the definition of success. It shouldn't be like that.
Sure.
You should know what success means to you and
Yeah.
what you're gonna do about it. It shouldn't be somebody else's idea of success that you make your own.
Great point, Himanshi. Like, it's just so cool to go deep with that answer and understand that what you mean. It's cool. Like,
Yeah, because like I see a lot of people, especially during this mentorship program. I figured that people don't want to do wedding photography because they want to do it,
yeah,
but just because they see photographers traveling across the world and going to fancy locations, and dude, then you're in deep mess if that's your thought, and you've made somebody else's success story as you think, though you might be doing good, but it doesn't match up to there. So
yeah.
you think that, okay, you haven't achieved success. So you should be really clear on what you really want, and if you are at the right place for that.
That's great. So, ending on really high note, Harsheen, it's so beautiful. But if you have questions for us, please let us know. We'll be happy to answer all the questions if you have right now about the program, about the World Photographers Club. We'll be happy to take on right now. Do you have one?
I don't have anything. I'm hungry. It's dinner time.
But okay, so last question we're gonna end, and this is how we usually end. So if we all are artists here, but what other art form do you think you want to take up or try in addition to your current one?
So I've already taken up a month back. I've started painting. That's what I really wanted to do from a really long time, but of course I couldn't.
Yeah.
So I thought, why not do it now? So I'm already.
That's great. So show us your paintings and stuff whenever you're free, and keep posting everything. And
They're very bad right now.
But that's great. But what, like, one final, so that we end up like really one on the question side, it's done. But what do you think about the whole program, the Outgoing Introvert?
I think it's really interesting because most of the sessions are just having photographers. But what I really liked is that you have brought in the creative people from really different fields. So that's the most interesting part of it.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Harsheen. But thank you for being on the platform and for the Outgoing Introvert Edition 4. And thank you for answering all the questions. If you have anything, if you really want to connect with anyone from Edition 1 to Edition 4, please let us know, that we'll be happy to connect you with those photographers or those artists.
Okay. Thank you, Sam. Good night.
Yeah. Good night, Harsheen. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.